Manchester United are inching closer to the Champions League spots. They're just a single point away. Joan Laporta keeps shocking Barcelona fans with his decisions. Jude Bellingham to Liverpool, Alexis Mac Allister to Real Madrid, plus a new coach for the Reds. That's what some reports are pushing right now. The Liverpool board aren't exactly thrilled with Arne Slot, and there's already a short list of potential replacements. All that and more in today's roundup. Friends, this is Football Frenzy and your daily batch of the biggest football stories right now. Now grab something to eat, get comfortable, enjoy your meal, and enjoy the show. Real Madrid's injury curse in defense is back on schedule. Just when the treatment room started to empty out, two more names jumped right back in. The biggest headache is at right back. Trent Alexander-Arnold couldn't finish the match against Athletic Bilbao. He picked up a muscle issue that at first seemed minor. Early reports said it was nothing serious and he'd be back soon. But the more tests he did, the worse the news got. Journalists in Spain now report that Trent has injured his adductor and will be out for around 2 months. In other words, he'll only be back by the time the Champions League knockouts start. At Madrid, they're worried about how fragile he's been. This season, he's only played more than 60 minutes in a handful of games. And here's the painful irony. They bought Trent to solve two problems at once: to replace aging, injury-prone Carvajal, and to stop using Fede Valverde as a plug in every position. Valverde was constantly sacrificed at right back before, and he hated it. He wants to play in midfield, where his energy and long strides actually matter most. But this year, Carvajal lives in the treatment room. Trent keeps joining him there. And guess who ends up covering at right back again? Fede. At some point, it's not surprising that he's seriously considering a move. Ruben Amorim wants him at Manchester United, and not as a fullback, not as a goalkeeper, not as a winger, but exactly where Fede wants to be, in the middle of the pitch, driving the game. On the left, Madrid have also lost Ferland Mendy again, but that one hurts less. The Frenchman is no longer untouchable. With guys like Alvaro Carreras and Fran Garcia around, Madrid finally have options on that flank. Compared to the chaos on the right side, left back is almost a vacation. Manchester United had a golden chance to climb into 5th in the Premier League and draw level on points with Chelsea. All they had to do was beat West Ham at Old Trafford. And West Ham this season aren't European spot West Ham. They're in the relegation zone, one of the favorites to go down. At home, with that kind of opponent, United were supposed to take 3 points with authority. Instead, we got the same old story. United sweat blood in big games, then throw points away in matches they should control. West Ham offered almost nothing. Outside of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Jared Bowen, and Jean-Claire Todibo, everyone else looked like background NPCs. That was still enough for a draw. United scored first, then conceded late from a corner. The most annoying part? Amorim had warned his staff before the match that they needed to be ready for West Ham's set pieces. Well, they prepared. United's attack was a mess. Cunha and Xerxes never got into rhythm, and even Bembo, who's been bright recently, disappeared. Honestly, the only ones you can praise are Casemiro, who looked desperate to drag the team forward, and Bruno Fernandes, who at least tried to create something, even if his shooting radar was completely broken. Half his shots looked like he was trying to take down passing birds, not the goalkeeper. Amorim didn't help himself with the substitutions either. Almost every change made United worse. Dalot, who scored, summed it up perfectly after the match. I think today's result is more our fault than West Ham's achievement. Despite all this, the table still flatters United. They're just 1 point away from the Champions League zone, with only 1 win in their last 5 league games. The Premier League this season is insanely tight. You can play badly for a month and still be 1 hot streak away from a top 4 push. In Paris, goalkeeper drama is back. PSG's number 1, Lucas Chevalier, picked up an injury against Monaco and missed a few training sessions. It looks very likely he won't be ready for the weekend, which means Matvei Safonov should finally start a League One game. The Russian keeper hasn't played a single league minute yet. This could be his first real audition and maybe his main selling point. In a recent interview, Safonov was brutally honest about his status. He said, Right now, I'm the second goalkeeper, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. The question is, do you accept that and stop there, or do you accept it and work to change it? And Gianluigi Donnarumma. And let's not overrate Donnarumma either. Outside of his Champions League heroics, his league numbers were mediocre. Even in England, his shot stopping this season is negative. He's letting in more than expected, sits near the bottom of the league on goals prevented, and his work on crosses is a horror movie. At some point, you expect your own defenders to start physically blocking him from jumping at corners so he doesn't drop the ball in the 6-yard box. Yes, he turned into a superhero a few nights in Europe. Joan Laporta keeps trying to sound like the ultimate selfless president who only thinks about Barcelona and never about himself. In his latest interview, he announced that if he wins the upcoming election, he won't run for a third consecutive term. "I'm not going to be like Putin or Maduro," he said. "I could technically run again, but I won't. That would be unacceptable." Nice line, but everyone's thinking the same thing. By the end of his second term, will Barca be in a better place or in an even bigger mess? Because if the club is still drowning in debt and sporting chaos, it's easy to imagine Laporta forced to stay to save Barcelona one more time. Of course, he'll complain he doesn't want that responsibility, but for the good of the club, he'll sacrifice himself again. You can almost hear the speech already. He also said, "We're ready to sign a world-class player right now, but only if there is a real need." Apparently, there is no need. The defense is rock solid. The depth is comparable to the best Premier League squads, at least if you watch press conferences and not the actual games. I'm sure Flick was thinking exactly that when he was forced to start Gerard Martin at center-back and push Eric Garcia into defensive midfield against Atletico. We've already talked about how fragile Barca's backline looks and how much the results dipped after Íñigo Martínez left. Martinez himself said the first person he told about his exit was Flick, and that the coach was genuinely upset. So upset that he still dreams of getting Íñigo back. According to Spanish reports, Flick has asked the board to re-sign Martinez in January. From his point of view, it's the perfect move, cheap, experienced, and already adapted to Barcelona's style and dressing room. The only problem? You have to convince Al Sadd to sell, or at least loan him out, and that won't be easy. Barca are counting on Íñigo himself here. He'll have to push his current club if he really wants to come back. The English press has fallen in love with one idea over the last few days. Real Madrid might be heading toward a very awkward summer, and Jude Bellingham could be at the center of it. The story is simple. Bellingham's form has dipped a bit. Madrid drew 3 league games in a row, then beat Athletic Bilbao but still lost top spot in La Liga. Spanish media immediately picked their usual victim, Jude, as soon as there's even a hint of doubt around a player in Spain. English tabloids smell blood. And here comes the master plan. Liverpool will try to bring Bellingham back to England next summer, but not in a straightforward way, through a swap. The idea is this. Real Madrid really like Alexis Mac Allister as a midfield piece for Xabi Alonso's system. The price difference between him and Bellingham is huge, but the rumor is that if Liverpool offer Mac Allister plus a big chunk of cash, Florentino Perez will at least think about it. On paper, it sounds crazy. A year ago, it would have been pure fantasy. Bellingham was the future of the whole Madrid project, the face of the next era. Long contract, superstar marketing, everything. But things changed with Xabi Alonso. The football at Real isn't built around Jude the way it was with Ancelotti. In this new structure, a press-resistant, tactically flexible 8 like Mac Allister can look more important than a free-roaming 10 who's struggling to hit his early numbers. You know how this usually goes. First come the whispers that the player is unhappy. Then the local press starts attacking him. Then a shocking report appears linking him with another giant. 6 months later, boom, blockbuster transfer. Are we at step 2 or already at step 3 with Bellingham? Hard to say. But with Alonso changing the hierarchy in midfield, the idea of a huge controversial move feels a lot less impossible than it did a year ago. The draw with Sunderland once again exposed Liverpool's weak spots. Sunderland's coach said after the match that he was stunned by how much time and space Liverpool gave his players on the ball. And he's right. The Reds' press used to suffocate teams. Now it barely annoys them. What used to be a trademark has turned into an empty memory. Arne Slot still hasn't managed to bring that terrifying intensity back. Earlier in the season, the board defended him strongly, talked about patience, transition, all the usual phrases. But slowly their belief is fading, and not just theirs. According to reports, some players are openly unhappy too. They complain there's no clarity, that the tactics change too often and too drastically, and that there simply isn't enough time in training to properly drill all these tweaks. The result is obvious: confusion on the pitch and points dropped against teams Liverpool should beat. The owners see something similar. What scares them most is not the bad run itself, but the lack of clear progress. If you're losing but building something, that's one thing. If you're losing and just spinning in circles, that's another. So, as one insider put it, the message to Slot was direct. If results don't improve soon, he's gone. The game against Leeds could be the tipping point. If Liverpool lose, the board planned to hold an emergency meeting about his future. And yes, if the crisis continues, they're ready to fire him mid-season. Who could replace him? The list is already floating around. Bring back Jurgen Klopp, Vincent Kompany from Bayern, Sebastian Hoeneß from Stuttgart, Roberto De Zerbi from Marseille, Michel Sanchez from Girona, Ernesto Valverde from Athletic Club, Luciano Spalletti from Juventus, Andoni Iraola from Bournemouth, Oliver Glasner from Crystal Palace, Inigo Perez from Rayo Vallecano, and of course, still a free agent, Zinedine Zidane. You won't get all of them, but with that many names, Liverpool can definitely land someone big, even in the middle of the season. And that wraps up today's Football Frenzy. If you're still here, do me one favor, drop a like, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next episode. It takes you a second, but for this channel, it changes everything. Thanks for spending part of your day with this roundup. Enjoy the rest of your evening, take care of yourselves, and as always, stay tuned, stay sharp, and enjoy your football.